and what a real This video was brought to you by Squarespace.
All new at 6, you might soon be able to go on a sky cruise. Designers are working on a new aircraft that uses 20 nuclear-powered engines and artificial intelligence to fly around.
So you probably saw the incredible flying hotel concept all over the news, TikTok, and the internet. But it's completely baloney. This isn't the first time that the fast-paced mainstream media has been completely hoodwinked, like here with the flying helicopter hotel. But this version of the flying aircraft was certainly the biggest. And seeing how big this aircraft was and how big it got on the internet got me wondering, is a flying hotel even possible? Let's explore the Sky Cruise concept, how it fooled the media, and what a real sky hotel would actually look like. All aboard the Sky Titanic. This week on my other channel, I have a video about the Nazi Sun Gun, a super weapon that the Nazis designed to evaporate New York. Check it out after this video, link down below. Like with all viral news, this one has a humble beginning. Back in the far-off year of 2012, an artist by the name of Tony Holmston created an art series called Killer is Dead. In it, he featured what can only be described as a Miyazaki-era Laputa in the sky creation that seems to defy gravity. While impressive, it's our next artist, Alexander Chukov, who turned it into a 3D model. It's been so popular that he's increased the price up to $500 US. Now, credit where credit is due, the 3D is so good that it fooled the world. And now enters our hero of the story, or perhaps interloper, Hashem Al-Ghali. As part of some world building on Reddit, he used this model to describe a fantastical flying hotel. One that was described by the media to carry 5,000 passengers all over the world, with luxury that isn't even found on cruise ships. Everything from restaurants, shopping malls, hospitals, and even a 360 sky deck. Luxury that a fantastical flying hotel. One that was described by the media to carry 5,000 passengers all over the world, with luxury that isn't even found on cruise ships. Everything from restaurants, shopping malls, hospitals, and even a 360 sky deck. Such a large aircraft, of course, would require a power source that is equally bonkers: fusion nuclear power. With near unlimited nuclear fuel, it could fly forever and never have to land. Which, by the way, is the same concept behind the equally insane Lockheed flying aircraft carrier, which I covered right here on the channel, which you can watch right after this video. To ensure safe passage on board this sky hotel, the plane would use a state-of-the-art artificial intelligence to pilot the craft and navigate turbulence, using what the author describes as noise-cancelling technology. Passengers would fly on converted 747s powered by electric motors from the ground up to the sky cruiser to dock, and then from there experience the very best that the Earth and sky has to offer. Leading us to the viral moment. After trending on several different parts of Reddit, it got picked up by the media, who went to town and assumed that engineers from no other than Germany were working on this concept and that it could be flying in our skies within the next 10 years. They also outrageously claimed that the first airline to run it would be Dubai's Emirates, and that they were even making orders. Something that really puts to show how little research some news organizations do. It's not the first time that the media has fallen to the hype of a flying sky hotel. Back in 2009, the media was tricked that the MiL-12, the world's largest production helicopter, had been bought to be turned into a helicopter hotel, or dubbed the Hoteliocopter, which I think is a pretty fascinating concept. After all, imagine trying to sleep with the rotors on. So what would have it been like if this Sky Hotel had actually existed.
What are you looking at?
Are you seeing what I'm seeing? She's playing MLA and she's got the SSR Guinevere.
That's all? I've got a dozen SSR heroes and 50 million battle power.
Didn't you just start playing?
You must have spent loads, haven't you?
Not a penny. You don't need to grind or spend to play MLA. New players just need to enter the CD key SUMMER0826 to get 150 free draws. The first 10 draws guarantees an SSR. You'll get plenty of SSR heroes with ease. Besides, MLA's got anniversary events running at the moment. Just log in each day for tons of rewards. Oh, and be sure to try out the Island Party event.
An island party? You mean tons of characters wearing swimsuits?
What on earth are you thinking about?
Audible is the best place to listen for everyone. For story people, comedy people, curious people, and people who want something new right now. Audible has the best of what you love. Download now and try it today.
And I bet you're thinking watching this video right now, I wish that one day people would be talking about my own projects just like this video. Well, here's some Uncle Nick from Found and Explained advice. They won't hear the quickest ending this, and they go to www.squarespace. Well, for one, there are all sorts of engineering questions, let alone understanding the laws of thermodynamics, that we need to take into consideration when talking about this plane. The first is the power source. Fusion energy doesn't exist, and nuclear power, even fission, on board a plane is an immature technology. I've covered it in detail the experiments to build a nuclear-powered bomber, and while in theory it's something that's possible, it might not be exactly what you want to do. After all, you can imagine if something went wrong, you'd be spreading nuclear fallout over half of the country. With 5,000 passengers on board, you would also need to absolutely make sure that the radiation shielding is up to spec, and that there is a safe way to evacuate all these passengers within 60 seconds on the ground in order for the aircraft to be approved by the FAA. Other questions that I raise are about where on earth this aircraft would take off to begin with. Perhaps it would have to be some vast runway built out into the middle of the desert somewhere. And then plus, how would they get enough food and water for all 5,000 passengers? Even the best aspirations would require more than just enough for a typical meal on board a plane, especially if it's supposed to have the type of dining that you would expect on a cruise ship. And lastly, we didn't even mention the cost to build such an aircraft, and nor the engineering technologies that would be needed to build it. But there's one gaping question I have, and that's, would you even enjoy being on board? If you're like me and if you've flown long haul across this planet, there isn't exactly a ton to see once you're up in the sky and flying. I'm not saying that the view isn't utterly spectacular from an aircraft, but while you're flying, you're just kind of looking at clouds. Any landmark or site would be quickly flown by, and you would blink and miss it, an advantage that our humble cruise ship has over this aircraft design. As one Redditor said it to sum it up, I would like a Zeppelin, but more expensive, more difficult to operate, and much more dangerous. But let's just imagine for a second that you absolutely love the idea of a Sky Hotel. How would we actually make one with today's technology that could actually exist? Sky hotels, or as I'm defining them, hotels that are flying and can move around like cruise ships, are not exactly a new concept. The closest we ever got was in the age of airships, introducing the flying hotel from 1930 that was simply incredible. Looking at the concept in detail, there was an opera house at the front of the airship, ballrooms in the middle, followed by large cabins with actual beds and baths, as well as an airport at the rear. Yes, that's right, you didn't mishear me. That's an airport within the rear of the airship that planes can be flown up and towed on board and then deliver guests to their rooms. It was designed in such a way that the airship could slowly cruise over America, picking up passengers from smaller towns and cities before departing over the ocean, letting people fly to regional airports upon arrival. Let me know if you want me to explore this incredible concept a little bit further, or the Sky Hotel of yesterday, down in the comments. So what about today? Well, it turns out there is one other concept in development that hits the nail on the head. Called the Airlander airship, this concept is bringing back the slow but fascinating travel of yesteryear. Ocean Sky Cruises airship is a 100-meter-long hybrid aircraft combining buoyancy from helium with aerodynamic lift created by the shape of its hull. Driven forward by 4 propellers, this vehicle can fly continuously for days and would be powered by low-emission energy sources. The aircraft wouldn't fly higher than 10,000 feet in normal operations, so there wouldn't be any need to keep the cabin pressurized. But where do they intend to fly this type of aircraft? The first trip would be to the North Pole, where 16 passengers can get off and explore thanks to the ability to land and take off without an airport. They'll also be served meals from a chef based on the region of travel. Pretty fantastic. Oh, and just a friendly reminder to click that link to Squarespace to check out your deal for 10% off your first site and domain, and also help out the channel. I can't wait to see what your websites finally are when you build them, so send me an email with the link to your website. I'd love to check them out. The company believes that these airships will allow people to travel to remote corners of the world without impacting large carbon emissions and without leaving a footprint like cruise ships. Perhaps the Sky Hotel isn't such a bad idea after all, but it looks like we'll need to gaze back at the past instead of visioning into the future for how it would work. What do you think? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.